Right, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes Hair Oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find her products at Walmart.com. And don't forget that she sells beard oil. Okay, so let's get ready to get back into it because you all know it's almost right after I finished the broadcast this morning, the NAACP, or it came out that the NAACP has joined Nolan Wells' family's legal team. Okay, so let's get into it. I'm going to share my screen. Lights up, everyone. Here we go. So more than a month after Nolan Wells was found deceased on Horn Island, the NAACP has decided to join his family's legal team. Let's get into it. This case has drawn national attention, and people are combing through potential evidence and coming up with all kinds of theories. Please pay attention. They're reporting that misinformation and AI-generated videos and photos are making the investigators' jobs much more difficult. Okay, please pay attention. Quite frankly, what do they expect? Okay, when they're not being transparent and people want answers, they're going to go digging and looking for things themselves. And as it pertains to speculation, well, I'm sorry, but Sheriff Ledbetter was the first one to speculate when he came out and said, there's nothing to see here, folks. No evidence of foul play suspected. And it looks like just a simple accidental drowning. That was all pure speculation. The investigation hadn't even begun. He hadn't collected one shred of evidence. Okay, please pay attention. Kristen Clark, the general counsel of the NAACP, says they're taking up this fight to search for truth and transparency as it pertains to the death of Nolan Wells. She further goes on to say, drawing on the association's long history of pushing for full and fair investigations when Black lives are lost under suspicious circumstances, we will help bring additional investigative resources to bear and work to ensure that no stone is left unturned in seeking answers and accountability for Nolan's family. Okay, please. Pay attention. They mean business. Meanwhile, Derrick Johnson, who's the president and CEO of the NAACP, says the world is watching and Nolan Wells' family deserves a thorough accounting for what happened. Okay, please pay attention. Goes on to say that too often the deaths of young Black people are dismissed, downplayed, or inadequately investigated until we start demanding answers. Further goes on to say that their involvement in this case is part of their commitment to make sure that those answers are pursued with urgency and respect for Black lives. Okay, please. Pay attention. NAACP's Office of the General Counsel says they're going to work with the family's legal team, including Ben Crump, to uncover facts and to push for transparency. Now, the Jackson County Sheriff's Department says that the investigation is open and ongoing. Please pay attention. Nolan would have turned 19 August the 19th. In his honor, they're going to be holding a national prayer rally August the 19th at 7 p.m., and this will be featuring Dr. Jamal Bryant. This event will be held at the Greater St. John AME Church at 551 Division Street in Biloxi, Mississippi. You know, I just have a sneaking suspicion that someone's going to crack real soon. Someone's going to start talking, just in my opinion. And not just because of the reward money, but somebody has it on their mind and heart to just come forward, because I just really think that it's weighing them down. The pressure is getting to be too much. And somebody eventually is going to crack. Okay, please pay attention. Somebody's going to snitch, y'all. Somebody is going to tell it. Okay? Please pay attention. I mean, we can see from the looks of Warren how it's taking a toll on him. He's not going to be the one to spill the beans, though. Okay? He's not going to be the one to spill the beans. Maybe it'll be Eric or Jax. Now, with that all being said, let's continue, because here's what they further go on to say. They said the NAACP Office of General Counsel will work with attorneys for the family to push a thorough investigation and transparency in the process, per a release from the office. They say, we will be bringing our investigative resources to bear and my experience and expertise as a former prosecutor. Now, this is what the NAACP General Counsel, Kristen Clark, said, to make sure that we are leaving no stone unturned. All right, I want y'all to pay attention, because this is serious business at the end of the day. And so that all being said, according to this information, this is going to bring about some legal muscle. Okay. Now, they say there is a major difference between an organization issuing a statement of support and actually becoming involved through its Office of General Counsel. The NAACP's legal operation is led by Kirsten Clark, a veteran civil rights attorney who previously served as Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division of the U.S. Department of Justice. Now, the NAACP appointed Clark as its general counsel earlier this year as part of an expansion of the organization's legal advocacy capabilities. That means the Wells family potentially gains another layer of experienced civil rights attorneys capable of examining the investigation through a legal and constitutional lens. Now, they can scrutinize questions involving evidence, investigative procedures, transparency, equal treatment, civil rights, and governmental accountability. Okay, please pay attention. This is all going to bring some serious legal muscle to the game. Now, the NAACP had already been involved publicly before joining the legal effort. The Mississippi State Conference NAACP previously demanded an impartial and transparent investigation and called for the release of law enforcement records, witness statements, available video evidence, and autopsy reports. Then the NAACP's national board opted a resolution calling on local, state, and federal authorities, including the Department of Justice, to conduct an in-depth and transparent review of the circumstances surrounding Nolan Wells' death. Now the organization's lawyers are joining the family's legal advocacy. And so that progression is very important, you all. Pay attention, because first came the questions, then came the public demands, then came the national resolution, and now comes additional legal firepower. Okay, it also means more people will be looking at the evidence. Now, when several experienced legal teams become involved, you already know how that goes, okay? Every piece of information can potentially receive additional scrutiny. The timeline can be examined. Witnesses' accounts can be compared. Phone records and digital evidence can be evaluated. Autopsy findings can be studied. Statements made by authorities can be compared with the underlying evidence as it becomes available. And inconsistencies can become the basis for additional questions. Now, that doesn't automatically prove that anyone committed a crime or that authorities engaged in wrongdoing. It means that there are now more experienced advocates whose job is to make sure unanswered questions are pursued rather than simply forgotten or, swept under the rug. You see, that distinction is extremely important. Please pay attention. And also, the timing is significant because the family's independent autopsy did not produce a definitive explanation for Nolan's cause of death, remember. Okay, its findings left the cause and manner of death undetermined pending further investigation. Now, mind you, they still had not sent the rest of the body parts to Dr. Mitchell, as was said in the letter that their attorneys sent out just days ago. Okay, so where's that and what's the holdup? Now, at the same time, members of the Congressional Black Caucus have been calling for federal involvement and an independent investigation. And they're still waiting on Trump to say something, I'm sure, because he's just trying to act like he doesn't hear anything. He doesn't see anything about this case. So when you put everything together, Ben Crump, the NAACP's legal team, national civil rights advocates, and congressional pressure for a federal review, Nolan's case is increasingly moving beyond the boundaries of a local Mississippi investigation, honey, and they can't stand it. I bet you they're all scrambling, running scared because they thought it was going to be so easy just to sweep this under the rug, okay, and then stomp on the lump that it left, and that would just be the end of it. But this has really gotten so huge, okay? This has gotten so huge. This is like a global story at this point. We have people from different countries even putting their comments online about what they think about it, okay? And now you have all this legal muscle joining. And also, let's not forget, see, here's the thing. People like to talk about Ben Crump and act like he's some race hustler, but Ben Crump puts in work. Let us not forget that some of his own attorneys are working on Carmelo Anthony's case for him to get a retrial, and they're doing so pro bono, okay? Please pay attention. That's why we can't be listening to the naysayers, okay? Some of these people out here that look like us sound just like MAGA, and that's really a shame. But anyway, I digress. So the Wells' family is no longer standing across the table from powerful institutions by themselves, okay? They now have organizations and attorneys with national reach standing right beside them and behind them, asking some of the same fundamental questions. What happened to Nolan Wells? Okay, please pay attention. And the main question, does the evidence support the story that has been told? Because I don't think so. Was every reasonable investigative avenue pursued? Doesn't look like it. And if something doesn't add up, who's going to demand an explanation? Okay, just us? There has to be some level of accountability is all I'm saying. Okay, so the NAACP joining the legal effort absolutely is going to get us some of the answers that we've been waiting for. Okay, in my opinion. Now, like, sub, everyone, please like and share. Now, with that all being said, guess what? Don Lemon interviewed, okay, he interviewed the president of the NAACP, Mr. Derrick Johnson. I just happened upon that as I was starting up my live. I noticed that he was live as well. And I'm going to listen to it and shout out to Don. Um, it's always pertaining to the case. Hold on, y'all, let me tell y'all something. I'm sitting up here with my headphones on, and I heard a man say, "Hey, what did I tell you?" And I'm like, where the hell's that voice coming from? Okay, it was a different tab that I didn't even realize I opened. Okay, so let's get ready for it. Durana says, "Facts, Queen. They're tired of them toothpicks keeping them eyelids open at night." Not toothpicks, beloved. You know you are so wrong for that. Okay, so let's get into it. We're just going to listen to a little bit of this. Okay, if you all want to watch the rest of it, y'all know where to find it. Okay, some of y'all are lemon heads anyway. Please pay attention. I know I am. Now, let's get into it. I'm going to put an overlay on this. For anybody that didn't catch what I just threw out when I said some of y'all are lemon heads anyway, and I know I am, that's what Don Lemon calls his people, for those of you that might be confused. But let's continue.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Lemon Live. Why are you getting involved? Why is the organization getting involved?
I think it's important for the family and the community to get answers. The local officials, the state of Mississippi, have not been as transparent as they should have been. Now that we have Kristen Clark as our general counsel, who served as DOJ head of Civil Rights Division, she's familiar with the procedures that should be in place. We have strong relationship with retired law enforcement officers on the ground, and we need some transparency from our local officials and give the family some answers.
Yes, because quite frankly, they have been a little too tight-lipped about this whole thing, and then acting like they're annoyed when reporters ask simple questions. Remember that day with Ledbetter, how he was looking at that black reporter like he just wanted to slap her? Okay, like the nerve of her to question him. Lola says, "Teach that truth." Well, thank you, beloved. You know I will. Okay, and thank you for your contribution to the channel. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Mr. Elevation just gifted the channel 5 memberships. Shout out to you, beloved. Thank you for that. I appreciate you. Peace, love, and blessings. Now, you all show your gratitude and appreciation. Put some fire emojis in the chat for Mr. Elevation for purchasing those memberships, especially for those of you who will benefit from them.
And there has been this narrative that was put out there, and I think they're trying to knock it down, which I believe was unfairly put out, saying that the family was somehow stonewalling investigators. But according to the letter, if you read the letter that they released this morning, they said, this is exactly what we agreed upon in July. And so, you know, I don't understand why this information has been put out there. And that's all part of the investigation. What do you make of that?
There's more time been spent on deflecting the fact that there has not been a thorough investigation that the public have trust and believe in. If there's been a thorough investigation, great. If there's a grand jury where information is going to be provided, that's great. But at this juncture, local officials should not be deflecting what's really taking place. We're talking about a state with a history of not valuing African-American life. We're talking about a state that spend more time worried about the perception of its past as opposed to reconciling the current reality and doing what's necessary. A child never returned home. A child got on a boat with a group of friends. A child phone came back with a friend, and that child, the next time we see the child, he's unalive. There are some questions that need to be answered. We have a sheriff who made assumptions before an investigation was done based on the words of the individuals that child was with. this should not be the case. There needs to be a complete and thorough investigation.
How does the NAACP getting involved help?
Well, it broadens the ability of individuals who are receiving information. We have a bigger net. I live in Mississippi, so there are some deep relationships there. You have the former head of the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division with experience in this background and deep contacts. So it allowed us, along with the Trump team, to try to assist the family in getting the necessary answers. Because apparently the state of Mississippi and local officials have not been as transparent as one would have liked them to be, or they're simply doing things that's out of the view and has lost.
They want a joint investigation. Otherwise, they would just say if they had confidence in the investigators, they may not do this. But this is standard procedure to have, a filter team go over to set parameters on what you can look for between a certain timeline and
Let me just tell you all something. First off, Lola says, Queen, you are deeply appreciated. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay, thank you for your contribution and your kind words. Peace, love, and blessings. But let me just tell you all something. So now it's been almost 2 months, right? And they still have not come back and given us any information. All they told us is that they're going to be releasing the information for review for the grand jury. And what I find interesting about that is the timing of it all. Because did you all bother to notice that they didn't come out and say anything about giving this information to the grand jury until after Ben Crump released the information from the independent autopsy? Did you all pay attention to that? Did you notice the timing of it all? Because I thought that was very important. You see, because for one, they were waiting to see what was going to come back from that autopsy report. Now, they figured, I'm sure, that it would be inconclusive or, undetermined, because they know what they kept, the throat and the lungs, okay, and other parts as well, but mainly those two. So they were likely hoping and thinking that's what it was going to come, and they just wanted to make sure, in my opinion. And so then once they did, they said, oh, yeah, let's just go ahead and send this all to the grand jury for review so we don't have to release anything to the public. Now, I do know that they said that's the common protocol there, but, they played with semantics, so to speak, because that's not the first thing you do. Okay, that's the last thing. Okay, that's like after the fact. So for them to be saying they're going to do that right after was very strategic of them. And that was just their way of not giving us access to anything. Now we can't tell y'all nothing. There's a pending investigation and we have to send all of this stuff to be reviewed by the grand jury. So y'all just have to sit back and wait and then wait some more. Another thing is, even after the grand jury reviews it, I'm willing to bet they're never going to release that autopsy report, okay? I just don't think they are. And I already told you all how they were planning or planning on giving, the flimsiest of evidence to the grand jury to avoid an indictment on any of those young men. That's just my opinion. Now, they may feel compelled, however, to go ahead and at least give them some of the information that would, cause someone to be indicted, because everybody's looking at them now. You see, we've ruined it for them. They already had it all planned out, in my opinion. Now, first of all, let me just give my disclaimer. Hold on. Let me just put up my disclaimer, honey. Okay, so, and Ron says, the leg hanging over the boat has sand on the foot. Either way, it's damaging. The funny thing is, beloved, they're not saying anything about that. They're acting like they don't see any of this down somewhere. Okay, because nothing but lies. They saw that video. They've seen the video with the leg hanging over the boat. They've seen the video with something popping up off the floor. They've seen all the videos that we've seen, because they're monitoring not only our social media, but everything else. And then, listen, here's the thing of it. They came out and said that all of this stuff, they said that there is fake videos. This is what they said. They said AI generated videos and AI generated photos. Okay, and they said that is misinformation. All this stuff being put out there is really just messing up the investigation or making it more hard for them. Why is it making it hard for you all? You all are right there in Ocean Springs. You should be going and knocking on doors and talking to everybody who was there that day and everybody who knows these young men and anybody who might have been a witness. That's what they should have been doing. Don't sit here and try to act like we're the problem, like we're holding up the investigation. Do you all see how they're trying to make us the fall guy, trying to make us the issue at the end of the day? Make it make sense. Because before this story got blown to the proportion that it is now at, they could easily have called all of those people in, questioned them in different rooms, like I said, play good cop, bad cop. Okay, they could have done a myriad of things. They could have started arresting people for underage drinking. They could have started demanding, tell us who gave you the alcohol, who bought it. Okay, where did y'all get these illegal substances from that we heard that they allegedly had? Okay, they could have done plenty of things. Why were you manning a boat while you had been drinking? BUI. They could have done plenty of things. They didn't do any of it. Now they want to sit here and act like we're the problem because we're speculating the same thing they did, please. Views, opinions, allegations, and accusations expressed by guests, third parties, or commenters are their own and do not necessarily reflect the views of the original Queen Shakur show or any of my other affiliate channels or social media accounts. Content is presented for commentary, discussion, reporting, and educational purposes. Discussion of an allegation does not mean the allegation is true or endorsed by this channel. All persons are presumed innocent unless proven guilty in a court of law. Question is, are they even going to see a court of law? Okay, I have several questions. Let's continue.
All things, some things that may be privileged on the phone, some things that may not even, relate to what's happening. They want to make sure that that's out and they just don't have everything and start spreading rumors and stuff about Nolan Wells. So, I mean, I think that is pretty standard procedure. I'm not sure why people don't understand that. Maybe they're not steeped in the law. They just don't, deal with these things much. However, you could, coming from, I was about to say Louisiana because that's where I'm from Mississippi, can you understand the hesitancy, if there is, from this family to turn that phone over?
Well, the question around the phone is separate from the level of confidence that local officials have built with the family by communicating with them, being transparent with them, and allow them some level of insights. It is without question that the parents had nothing to do with the disappearance and then the discovery of Nolan Wells. But there is a lot to be desired in terms of all the people who last saw him. And the fact that the local officials was not open with the parents, not sharing progress, and pretty much shutting the parents out, that's why we at this juncture. How things proceed from now and the parents' hesitancy is all based on that initial 2 weeks and lack of communications with them to really build the type of trust and confidence that those investigating was taking this case serious and looking to figure out what exactly happened.
Do you have an idea? I don't know if you want to articulate that about what you think happened or?
No, I mean, we're not here with any preconceived notion. If it was an accident, let's figure out that this was an accident, this was happening. There's something more to it, let's figure it out. So we don't come here with a preconceived notion of some type of foul play or cover up. We are saying this community, that family deserved answers, and that's why we are part of it.
I want to know what you think of the friends doing interviews. And also they're not even insinuating. One of them is saying that they're getting the treatment that they're getting. They're under the spotlight because of Nolan Wells' mom.
Like his mom blasting us on social media from the get-go, saying that he was out there with Warren and another guy. That's where it first started to take off. And then also the fact that she posted a picture of me and Morgan and another guy and Nolan on the boat together, blasting that out there, pushing this narrative, kind of, I guess.
It sounds so ridiculous talking about pushing this narrative kind of, I guess. Sir, she put the picture out there because Warren lied and told her that her son was wearing black shorts. My question still is, why did he lie about what Nolan had on? And it wasn't a mistake. He lied. Okay, that's what he did. Nolan had on light blue shorts. How could you confuse that with black? And then he later said, oh, navy blue or something like that, but they were clearly, or he said dark blue or something along the lines, but they were clearly light blue. Okay, there's no way he could have mixed that up. And he saw him all day. And they spent the night together. So please miss me with it.
I wish that would have never happened either. And I don't think those would have never happened. A lot of this stuff wouldn't have been as viral or going all over the country at this point. I mean, this is a countrywide news story that is just blown out of proportion.
It's not blown out of proportion. That's how you know he wasn't Nolan's friend for real. Okay. Or if he was, he darn sure doesn't care that he's dead. So I would have to say he wasn't his friend in the first place. Because why would you say it's blown out of proportion? If it's your friend, your brother, your bro, somebody that you cared about, wouldn't you want everyone to be talking about it? Wouldn't you want it to be huge? So, but he's sitting there saying it's blown out of proportion. So he resents the attention. But here's the thing. Why is he sitting on that stage? Because nobody was really talking about him. Okay, please make it all make sense. Let's continue.
And the fact that it was our best friend and it's not what people are saying it is.
Okay, so you get
is
it.
what hurts
They're
the
saying
most.
his mom blasted them on social media. You're muted. Say,
I don't know.
repeat.
Yeah.
No, you're good. You're good.
All right. Her son is dead. They were not forthcoming to explain what happened to him. He had been missing. She had been inquiring. No one told her anything. They came back with his cell phone, but not him. She's grieving. No one is giving her answers. No one is responding to what happened to my son. And so this concept that somehow they're now the victim because she's pursuing answers. They're now the victims because she raised the conversation. And the conversation is now a national and in many ways global conversations. You know, it is unfortunate that any mother will have to go through the exercise of saying, my son is missing. And it appeared as if no one was caring. And the last people he was with have a cell phone, but they are not providing any response to what happened to her child. They are not the victim. Her child is no longer with us.
I think it's odd because they're making it seem like, and I reported this last week, I said it on social media and I said it here, as if Christine Wansley Wells is on trial. She's not on trial. She lost her son. And if that is indeed your friend, and you may consider him your friend, okay, but that is indeed your friend, why are you blasting the mom? Why are you blasting his mother? I don't understand it.
Well,
Do you think it's a good strategy for them, the lawyers, and for them to be doing this?
You know, to go on that show and to have those responses, was that coaching? Was that preparing for some type of legal piece to shift the blame, to shift the narrative, to take the attention off the fact that her son went on a boat with them, but he never returned? And no one is giving answers, and the explanation that's been provided doesn't seem as plausible. But maybe there is some plausibility to it, but that's why we need a thorough investigation to figure out.
I want to ask you about this. This content creator has been defending the young men and also, saying questionable things about the mom. Here it is.
Bombshell tonight in the Nolan Wells investigation. Tonight, the timeline seemingly blows up. This as Nolan's mother is investigated. Why? And tonight, possibly even more important, where is Nolan's phone?
Well, from my understanding, authorities do not have it, and the family have not been cooperating with authorities to give the phone over.
Brandon, you may very well be a lot smarter than me, but I can hear, okay? Otherwise, we're prepared to cooperate, I guess, from Crump.
But it's best to have both cloud and the phone
Okay.
to paint.
So he's been basically the interviewer. He's a far right-wing commentator who's, in many people's eyes, and I don't even know if I need to qualify it that way, is anti-Black, even though he's Black. He's always defending, white folks and talking shit about Black people. I don't know another way to put it. And it seems like he's doing that with this particular story because nobody knows what happened. He doesn't know what's going on, right? And nobody's, as you said, we have no preconceived, at least I do, no preconceived notions about whether the young men were involved. However, their strategy is very questionable. And I'm not sure who's advising him. I guess that their attorneys and their parents are advising them, but I think it's a bad strategy. But this, he says he's an ex-officer or whatever. What do you make of his performance and what he's been doing?
Well, I wonder who's paying him, or is this about clicks? And it's unfortunate. We are entering here.
Now he's definitely getting paid. And let me just tell you all something. Did I show you all the receipt dates ago? I'm pretty sure I did. But, Judge Ashley Cole messaged him on social media. Did you all know that? I think I showed it to you, right? Please tell me I did. Yeah, she messaged him and she said, sent you a message, please check or please reply back or something like that. So why is she reaching out to him on social media? Because he's being paid for what he's doing with these interviews. They reached out to him because they knew that he'd be the perfect Negro to tell the story, to spin the narrative and all of that and try to control it. Look, everybody, it's a black man. He's even saying the guys didn't do it. Please pay attention. Sad thing is nobody listens to him, at least of all, not any black person with common sense.
Here to try to be a part of a solution to help the parents get answers, to allow that community to understand what took place. For all we know, this could be a complete accident and people are panicking. And if that's the case, let's show that. Whatever the case is, we should all be lining up to pursue answers for that community and the family and not point fingers, particularly if for some of the people who've been commentating on social media, they've never been to the community or into Mississippi. So
Right.
The question is this about clicks or is this about someone paying him?
Hey,
Derrick G. Johnson. Derrick, thank you. And I'm sure you're prepared to carry this.
Raids Batum Tatum has clearly been paid, honey. We already know. Listen, if we didn't know, now we know. Okay, we saw the verdict, his liquor brand. We saw it in the background. Okay, we saw it in the background of the attorneys. So yeah, definitely in cahoots. He's got to get something out of the deal. That's what he has to do.